Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
Yo, what's going on, people? Hope you enjoy the live. EJ Boxing Live is here back again with my man, Dan the Man. What's up, Dan?
Hey, what's happening, EJ? What's going on, people?
Well, yeah, exactly. But Dan, hey, Dan, you said you got some breaking news. Go ahead, drop it.
Yeah. But first, let me give a credit and credit's due. Shout out to B Marsh because I saw this on his channel, and I think another cat reported as well. But nobody's really talking about it. But I just have to say something here about Adonis Stevenson, a name that we haven't heard about in a very long while now. Those who don't know, Adonis Stevenson's career had came to abrupt end after his fight with Alexander Vosdik, who coincidentally retired after his fight with Arthur Beterbiev. But anyhow, that was a fight that when he lost to Lenio in WBC and Lenio light heavyweight championship. And after that fight, he suffered a brain injury where he had to be subdued to a medically induced coma to reduce the swelling of the brain. But anyhow, what happened is that his ex fiance at the time, who was with him, she cleared about nearly $900,000 from the bank account they shared and relocated to Dubai before he recovered. So, or a little bit after he recovered, one of the two. And the question is whether he got that money back. We don't know. But the fact is, from a technical standpoint, it's not stealing because they shared an account. He gave her access to it. So she had the right to go ahead and withdraw whatever funds that she needed to withdraw from the account or she wanted to withdraw. So that's how that occurred. And she moved to Dubai to start her own fashion line. And she's been living there ever since. While Adonis, on the other hand, has been, he's in Montreal enjoying retirement, enjoying, trying to, train the youth there, whatever. So be it. All power to him. But the breaking story behind the situation is a shout out to B Marsh because he's the one who put up a bid about this. An arrest warrant has been issued to his ex-fiancee Simone God for the kidnapping of their daughter, Adonia. That Adonis haven't seen ever since she was. Hasn't seen for 4 years. She was born, I think, a month before the fight with Vosdik. And now there's a police warrant out there for her arrest for kidnapping. I don't know how this is going to be resolved, but I know people are going to say, well, how could it be kidnapping? And that's his kid and her kid. Well, it is kidnapping because she did take Adonia with her, and there was no court proceeding on whether they split the custody between the two or she gets full custody. So in fact, they were never married. So so from a technical standpoint, if you want to use technicality here, it is kidnapping, and now she's in big trouble. So now the Montreal police has issued an arrest warrant for her for kidnapping. Will she be extradited to face those charges? I don't know. I know this is not the Daniel Kinahan situation, so I'm not sure what pull that the Canadian government may have to have her extradited. We'll see.
Wow, I know he heard he used to be a pimp. I don't know where he found that one from, but she's a bad beans, man. She a bad beans, boy. And Arturo Gatti had trouble with his wife, and a lot of people say that she set him up and got him killed. Hopefully that situation can be resolved. And are forced to go out with Adonis Stevenson, especially after his career. You don't want that traumatic situation happening. But I was, coincidentally enough, I was at a restaurant with my boss and some of the coaches, and they were talking about men who would, I'm not saying them, but men, they've slept with women, and the women is for whatever reason is upset with them, whatever reason, and she will not let them see their kids, and in fact she'll use the kid against them and purposely, and that's horrible. But and then the only thing is the man has to be cool about it. But that situation has happened where she's obviously, he's not making no money no more, he's not going in, and she's feeling like, yo, I'm just gonna take the kid and take this and go and do something else, and that's very unfortunate for him. And I'll force to go out for him, and hopefully that situation gets resolved.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out, how she could resolve this, because now there's a warrant for kidnapping. This is something she could say, well, what if I just give up full custody of Donnie, and will you drop the charges? I mean, that's something she's gonna probably.
Where's she? What country is she in now?
She's in Dubai.
Yeah, no, she's good, man. Ain't nothing happening. Nothing can happen. Yeah, no, she ain't gonna go back to Canada. That's it. Like,
No, no,
the only
no.
way,
She definitely not going back there. No,
yeah,
no, no,
that's
no.
it. So only way he can go see his kids, he's gonna have to leave where he is and go and see her, or make some more kids. But that's what I said. That situation.
Well, I think what he's going to push for, this is my assumption. I think what he's pushing for is full custody. He wants full custody of her. That's what he wants.
But that way,
Yeah,
yeah, but you have to bring the kid over and get a judge to rule that. So you're gonna
yeah,
have to go to wherever she is in Dubai and push that kind of there. But that's a long legal process.
yeah,
Unfortunately, they're gonna have to sort out. What reason? Because he's got and when it comes down to it, he's got a history of pimping and women and that. And
yeah. He's got
that's
to
what I'm
check
gonna
her
say. I don't know
past.
how he. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know how he met that chick.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, man. That's the thing. The checker pass. If it ever comes down to a court proceeding where he's fighting
Yes.
for full custody for her, yeah, there's gonna be that's gonna come up. It's gonna be a checker pass situation. She's gonna
Mhm.
bring up issues that they had that we don't know about. They had domestic disputes. I'm sure that's all gonna come up, and the judge
Yeah.
is gonna look at that and say, "Well, you have a checker pass. You're known to be volatile, so why should you get full custody of her?"
There you go. There you go. I know he's got power in Canada because he's with Yvonne Michelle, and I'm
Right.
sure that situation in Canada where he's got a more power, probably why she left. And talking about that, and rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. I didn't really listen too much of him. I remember listening to him because it's hard for me to look at watch someone, and the room's dark, and then listen to slow music. And then
Yeah.
talking mainly to females, so it was more these things was more directed to females. But a lot of people have come out and they're really going at him and happy that he died. And I'm like,
Nah,
yo,
yeah,
bro.
that's a golf. Bro. Look, I mean, Kevin Samuels was yeah, look. I didn't really listen much to Cam Samuels, but I know he was a guy who somewhat degraded African American women a lot, and they didn't appreciate that. So they thought they're now using his death as well. This is you're reaping what you sow now because you disrespected our women, your people for so long, and you had what's coming to you. You know what I mean for doing that. Look, I think that's a bit harsh to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that argument would make sense if he had suffered financially, but no, he died from a heart attack after having intimacy with his girl.
Is that confirmed though? Is he dead? Like, or is he just running game? Because like I don't know. Like I still haven't heard. I mean, it's been reported that, but there's no. I don't know. Like I don't know. Is it true? I don't know. Like
Well, it seems like other news outlets are cross-referencing that information, so it means more likely that did happen. So if everybody
okay.
else is reporting it, then it is true.
I heard it
Yeah,
was with a younger woman in a hotel, and he was basically taking. He was on Viagra, and I think was pumping her up, and then his heart exploded or something. Like he had a heart attack.
yeah. You know what happens is if you take too much Viagra, that will affect your heart.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was taking
Ah,
too much. He maybe overdosed on Viagra. I don't know, but
wow.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, you can't take you. It's like it's like taking a steroid. You can't. There's like a certain cycle where you take this thing. You can't take it every single day. I don't know if
ah,
that's probably what he did. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
But
Ah, that's
there's a huge side effect when it comes to Viagra because it's a strong, potent stimulant, and that's why. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They say men have to take it after because otherwise, anyway, we get into something. What other news you got before we get into the topic of Daniel Dubois and Kevin Bryant? What other news going? Not Kevin Bryant, Thingy Bryant.
Trevor Bryan.
Trevor Bryant.
Well, I mean, what else is there? Well, I'm sure you all heard the news about Frank Warren claiming that Fury versus White did more money revenue wise than Joshua versus Klitschko, and obviously Frank. That's what Frank is saying, but he wouldn't release the figures on the pay-per-view numbers. But he said it did well, and the rumor mill was 2 million. But Frank shot that down and said that I don't know where that number came from, but it didn't do 2 million, but it did well.
Mhm.
But he didn't
Mhm.
want to release the number fee. He didn't want to release the figures. And to be
Mhm.
fair, though, someone brought this up and said that, well, Eddie Hearn doesn't. I mean, he'll release a figure, but he'll only give you an estimate ballpark. That's it.
Mhm.
So realistically, we don't really get the figures. And speaking of that, if people are going to go after Frank Warren, and I'm not the biggest Frank Warren or BT fan, but if you're going to go after Frank Warren for not releasing figures of Fury versus White, how come we didn't get the figures for Joshua versus Usyk? We never got the
Aha.
figures for that. Where
Aha.
what happened to that?
Yeah, but I think with the zone, they don't have to. So they don't have to. But Frank, that's why Frank's trying to bring the numbers out there to put
Mhm.
it on it. Because in fact, we didn't even know the numbers for Klitschko and Joshua either.
Well,
But
yeah, the estimate that came out was like 1.5 million, but as far as Joshua and Usyk, that was Sky pay per view, Sky box office. So Eddie Hearn could have put the numbers out on that, or Sky at least could have done that, but
Yeah,
no one.
England they don't have to. Yeah, in
They
England
don't
we don't
have
have
to, but no
to.
one did. So my thing is that if you're going to go after Frank Warren and Tyson Fury for not releasing the figures for Fury versus White, then where was his vitriol for Usyk Joshua versus Usyk? We never saw the numbers on that fight. That was nearly what, a year ago.
Yeah,
No estimate came out for that fight,
yeah,
which I
yeah,
find pretty weird. But I
yeah.
guess some people will argue that goes to show that Joshua's popularity is declining. It is still under decline after Fury came out and emerged.
That's what
So
Hatman was saying. Like in terms of like, I don't see how that is because the numbers are still good on the gate. They still you remember he opened a new stadium. That's a new stadium,
right,
football stadium. That's White Hart Lane. The
right,
numbers was out. The numbers are good. Everyone
yeah,
watched it. Yeah, the result was very poor in terms of the loss, but I
right.
don't see I don't see the decline really. I mean, he's still that's a stadium. That's like
Yeah,
how many
yeah,
stadiums?
that's a good point. Look, here's the thing: Anthony Joshua will still draw a crowd because at this point, it's kind of like when you watch a fight, it's kind of unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. There's going to be some type of excitement, one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
I get that part, but I think what Hatman was referring to, as far as popularity is concerned, is that after Joshua suffered 2 losses, one to Ruiz, yes, he avenged that loss, but the loss is still on the record. And the loss that he had with Usyk recently, people are going to look at that and look at Fury, a guy who came through a war with Wilder at the third fight, who beat Dillian White easily. They're going to look at that and say, okay, you know what? This guy's a lot. He's very confident. He doesn't second guess himself. He's very, he's very sure. He's very assertive. That's what we know now. They're gravitating towards a guy like Fury, and Josh, on the other hand, keeps second guessing himself. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He's afraid of doing certain things in the ring. He has to be told what to do. It's like people look at that as like, I don't know, man. The confidence, we don't know. We could we could be confident about this guy. But to your point, though, if that's the case, why do you still go to watch Joshua fights then?
Exactly. Yeah, because
So
look, Joshua, he's still the main guy. He still does the big numbers. Now, look, if you're looking at attendance with Fury against an opponent not like Klitschko, yeah, he in terms of more money and the pay-per-view they did, but I don't think the numbers translated on these BT Sports. Remember, that's a trial period. Now I paid for it, right? But
yeah.
I don't know everyone else, and it wasn't really promoted by Dillian White. So on the gate, yeah, 100%, 90, whatever they said. I don't know if it was that. That's what they said.
I
That's
think they
what
did around about 80,000.
some of them seats are empty, man. Some of them seats are probably empty, man. Right?
Yeah,
They
I
never
think they
tell them
did about 80,000 plus. I don't
yeah,
think they
yeah, all
reached
right.
94,000.
Exactly on the pay per view now, buying it. I don't listen, bro. Like I don't know, man. It wasn't. It wasn't. Remember again, BT. It wasn't. I don't. They weren't blowing up every minute. So in terms of AJ Fury, no. This is why it's different, right?
Yeah,
AJ Klitschko. You had RTL Germany. You
yeah,
had HBO in America. You obviously Sky Sports, and you got a constant media pumping it out 24/7. Right now, Fury is Fury a bit a better star in terms of more successful? Yeah, but in terms of like crossing over star, there may be Fury, but I still don't. I mean, he's as only good as Wilder because Wilder helped him as a good dancing partner. And
right, exactly.
remember, you have to have ESPN to see him. But in terms of like covering like a Mayweather kind of star. AJ, yeah. Remember, AJ's a good-looking guy, You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He ain't no fat belly on the general. Just looking at him, people, even not boxing, they're gravitating to AJ. So AJ's still the man. I think if Frank Warren's trying to get a piece of that pie, trying to say we should get more in the negotiation, I think that's what he's angling for. But
yeah,
for real, in my opinion, AJ's still the man, you know what I mean? Unless I'm proven otherwise. But in terms of boxing, Fury's the
yeah.
guy. Fury's the guy right now, the man of the hour. And he's too sweet to be sour. He's running boxing right now in the UK. He's the guy. Until AJ beats even if AJ beats
Usyk.
Usyk, Fury's still the guy right now because
Yeah,
that stadium thing is epic with Dillian White. That's still epic.
right, right. And speaking of Fury, we got staying on him a little bit further. Yesterday he put out a video. I'm sure you took a look at it. It's a small video on his social media feed on Instagram
Yeah,
or Twitter. One
yeah,
of the two.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
And he said that he's enjoying his retirement, yada yada yada. But here's the thing: the WBC issued Tyson Fury an ultimatum. In other words, give us a notice. Let us know by the end of the week whether you're retired or not, because the division's got to move. If you're retired, then you need to vacate the belt or we'll strip you. And Frank Warren was asked about this in one of his recent interviews. He said, I don't get why the WBC is putting pressure on Fury. Give the man a fucking break, okay? He just fulfilled his mandatory obligation. What's the point of asking him whether he's retired or not? I'm like, well, Frank, the fact is you got people who wants to get a title shot. Deontay Wilder is rated number 1. So I don't think the WBC will mandate the fight. I don't see how they're going to do it. But the fact is that, look, if you're retired, then fine. Vacate the belt. We'll put you a champion emeritus, and we'll let somebody else fight for it. Wilder will be first in line to get a shot, and whoever the winner is, either Parker or Joyce. But you know what? Though I thought about this. I thought about this long because I saw the other fighters in the contention. I don't think they're gonna mandate Wilder versus the winner of Joyce Parker. I think they're gonna mandate. There's a possibility that they may mandate Deontay Wilder versus Otto Wallin for that vacant title. That's a possibility. So,
well, I heard about that. But Wilder doesn't say anything about it in terms of who you fight. In terms of the ranking or where Wilder is, I don't know if he's ambitious to go back in there, because again, you're looking at Otto Wallin, like, yo, bro, that's a kind of hard fight. Southpaw, long guy,
pretty tricky.
Otto, and in his mind, he give Fury a good old beating. Arguably, some people say he beat him. So Wilder's, if you're his manager or trainer or anywhere, I'm like, nah, I'm not taking the Otto Wallin fight. I know he doesn't hit that hard, but he's a better boxer than me, and he gave Fury trouble. Maybe I leave that fight alone. Now, Wilder,
leave it for now. Let's just say don't mandate it right away. Just give Wilder a confident building fight against, not saying somebody subpar. Who would be somebody? Maybe
straight out, Dillian White. Straight out.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the fight. That's the fight that people would pay for. It's still box office. People don't care that the both of them been knocked out because they just want to see them two, and that would settle a lot of scores in terms of the YouTube community of who really deserves this and the dates and what is Wilder this and Wilder that would bring everything together. It'll bring a big, massive fight. I think that's the biggest fight for Wilder. Now, would Wilder take that fight, looking at that fight and say, well, Dillian deserve the shot at me, even, and then the winner, if you're gonna put a vacant belt on and generate that money when you got America and you got the UK, and Dillian would promote that one. I think that's
absolutely. I think, I know somebody mentioned that Dillian probably wasn't too enthusiastic fighting Fury. I'm like, no, I don't know about that. But anyway, even if he's enthusiastic, but that doesn't dismiss the fact that his technical deficiencies are still there. And I said this many times. Dillian White is a slow-footed guy. His footwork is terrible. He doesn't set up his shots at distance, and that's the way to beat him. That's the way to beat him. You keep him at bay at the end of your jab because Dillian can't get away from that. Hell, Robert Helenius is slow as hell. Not slow as hell, but he's a slow heavyweight, and he was giving Dillian a lot of problems, keeping him at the end of the jab. Where every time Dillian would try to lunge in, he catch him with a check left hook. And I said this before. I said this before the Fury fight. I said, look, watch Fury's team going to look at that. They're going to use the same tactics like Helenius did, and I was proven right. They kept him at the end of the jab. Whenever he tried to come in, you catch him with a check left hook, and he's going to fall over the place. That's exactly what happened in that fight. So I think Wilder's are going to look at that and say, hey, you know what? This guy doesn't. I mean, he's tough, but the only way he could beat me is I give him any if I give him the distance, like in punching range. That's all, because when it comes to outside distance, Dillian's not good at that. He's not. So. That's the way to beat him. You keep it at the end of your jab, and when he comes in, you come and get him with a left check, get him with a check hook, and then get out the way and keep him at the end of the jab. And then when the time is right, set it up with the uppercut. And once you get him with that uppercut, he's gone.
I think stylistically, I think that's a great fight. But now that it's pure speculation, so we'd have to see what Dillian wants to fight. He wants to fight with Fury. He's not gonna get a fight with Fury. Deontay Wilder, it's a radio silence, licking his wounds, so we don't know what he's up to. But that's the fight. But if they don't hear nothing, Otto Wallin versus who did he want to fight? He wants to fight Wilder, maybe, and definitely Joe Joyce versus what's his name?
Joseph Parker.
Joseph Parker is a possibility. So we have to see. All right, but other breaking news, Kell Brook has announced his retirement. First off, we might say, where is Dwayne? Because that's Dwayne's guy, right? Dwayne is on set there. So I don't know what Dwayne's gonna do with himself now because he's a massive Kell Brook fan. Also, I think Kell Brook, I would have liked one more fight with him and Keith Thurman. I think that would have been a great fight. But there's nothing to prove at this point. The last guy you challenged against the best pound for pound in Crawford. You're the first man to beat Sean Porter. You was a world champion. You've achieved quite a lot in terms of your career. You got big payday. Amir Khan, you settled that kind of rivalry score that you want, and he's going out on a win. And I think if he's happy with that, I'm happy with that. What's your take on the situation, Kel retiring?
You know what? It's somewhat disappointing to me because after the Khan fight or before the Khan fight, I thought what, two guys were both shot born, as you want to call it. They've been way past their best. They took on a lot of beatings. I thought that going into that fight, Kel didn't have much anymore. It was just more him going in there and collecting a check. But when he fought Khan, he was more motivated. He regained his form. He looked like his prime self in that fight. And I thought, you know what? Maybe he does have two more fights left in him, and that's what I would have liked. Let's get a couple more fights out of him, and then he can close. Then he can have proper closure in his career. You know what I mean? The setbacks against Golovkin, the setbacks against Crawford, and I think he's only got 2 losses on his record against those guys. So other than that, I would say, okay, you know what? At the same time, I can understand why, because it's like, look, I got my closure. I got my big, one of my biggest victories in my career. Probably, in his mind, hit the biggest because that was a score that needed to be settled for many, many years. But with Amir Khan, who's been avoiding that fight for so long, you know what I mean? So he finally got that closure. He's got the respect now, and he's like, you know what? In my mind, I'm going out on top with a bang. And of course, the Eubank fight fell through. That's the reason why he's like, well, if that fight doesn't happen,
I think he and his team wouldn't want that. I think Eubank was. I think Kel was asking for a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
And really, truly, it would have benefited Eubank, not really necessarily Kell Brook. I mean, but this is the thing. I knew that Khan didn't want Kell Brook. He's like, why do I want him for? He's a dangerous fight. But he thought, you know what? We might as well do it at a catch weight. I have sparred him before, and they took that fight. But Eubank, come on, Eubank's a bigger middleweight. You're primarily a welterweight. I don't see how that's. Even though he has fought at middleweight because he fought Triple G, but bruv, that's Triple G. Who are you? Yeah. You ain't done nothing. What are you doing? I mean, all you're looking for is easy paydays. You're not really challenging for no belt. That Matt Carbo fight, you was losing that fight, Eubank Jr., and then you bailed out, left America to come back over here, and you're fighting the subpar opponents. I mean, the biggest fraud out there in Eubank Jr. I mean, he obviously can fight, but he doesn't want to fight top tier competition. They want to steal money and this and that. Give Kell Brook credit. He fought dangerous fights. Eubank ain't doing that. So if Kell Brook's team said, you know what, we don't need you, bro. Like, we don't need you. And we're tiring. And him and Dominic Ingle can go into the sunset and do what they want to do. He's got money in the bank. He's got his health, his wealth. He's got a wife. He's got kids, and he can spend time on that end of it, and maybe do a couple of commentary work, which is not really good because Kel's not really good for speaking that. But Kel's
right. He does have a bit of a speech pattern issue. I think he's got some slurring in his speech. I mean, it is what it is. He's got a stutter. He's just got a stutter, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
but, he's got a bit of a stutter. Yeah, so I'm not calling it an epitome, but it's a little bit of a stutter. But I mean, we'll see what he wants to do, man. But like I said, though, part of me is a little disappointed. Maybe could have got one more fight, but it is what it is. I can't be too upset because at the same time, I can understand where he's coming from. It's like, look, I got my closure with the Khan fight. I won. I prevailed, and that's it. I'm done. That's all I needed. I needed that closure in my boxing career, and I got it. So I can understand what he's coming from, man, on that. So big up to Kell Brook, Special K. Enjoy your happy retirement, man. You got your health, like you said, EJ. You have your family, your health. You're fine. He's good. So yeah, man. But other than that,
let's get into the main event, man. Let's get into the main event. That's what we came here for, man.
Yes,
Trevor Bryan versus Daniel Dubois. Hey, Don King's contesting the percentages that Daniel Dubois should be getting. But let me tell you something, bro. I'm gonna say it right now. This is a mismatch, bro. Epic court. Trevor Bryan's gonna beat the candy out of Daniel Dubois, man. I like Daniel Dubois. He's a nice guy. You know what I mean? But he's very basic, works by the jab, a very powerful jab. But when he can't land the jab, he'll throw a right. Trevor Bryan is like most of the heavyweights Don has gotten. They're crafty. You know what I mean? Even though he's got the belt, he's a very crafty, heavy-handed, slick heavyweight that people look at him. He's potentially, see, the thing you look at him, he's fat. And you think, Daniel should be able to. He's better shape. Well, that's what we thought when Ruiz. He ain't none about that. Skills pay the bills, and he's got more skills on his one little finger than Daniel Dubois has. You know what I mean? Daniel Dubois, if he had one of them old school American teachers, but the thing is, I don't know how he comprehends information. But I know when I look at Trevor Bryan And I say to you straight out now, Dan, I'll tell you straight out, that
Uh,
guy's a problem. He's a very, very awkward guy to fight. What you think you're getting in there is you see a big belly, you see fat, and then when you run there, you're like, yo, this guy's got good hand speed, he's got decent power, and he's very elusive. So I think right now, if you got money and this fight is made, put your money down on Kevin Bryant probably stopping Daniel Dubois or winning by points. Go ahead, Daniel, man.
well, that's an interesting take because on the opposite side, many people. I'm still on the fence on this one because I mean,
Here we go. Here we go.
yeah. But to your point, though, you did kind of change. You did kind of make up a mind for me because you're right because there is a little bit of a skill gap between Bryan and Dubois because Trevor Bryan is a pretty skilled heavyweight. Even though you could question his level of opposition, you could say, well, how can you say that if he hasn't really fought anybody? Well, yeah, the same thing you could say about Daniel Dubois. He hasn't really fought anybody other apart from Joe Joyce, and look what happened in that fight. So, but yeah, to your point though, I'll not say to your point, but to add a positive to Trevor Bryan, he got Larry Holmes coaching him. So Larry Holmes is training him right now. So
really?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening to that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go
So if you got Larry Holmes in your camp, then yeah, all right. that should be a game changer. Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to tell you? Right? See Don King, with all the knowledge he has over the boxers, Ali, like he knows his stuff. But go ahead, Dan, break it down,
Yeah.
cause this is the Darren bring the American side of it. I didn't know that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Larry Holmes is in the Trevor Bryan camp, so he's definitely coaching him and teaching him a lot. Teaching him some pointers. So that would definitely be a game changer. We'll see if that translates in the ring versus Daniel Dubois. But to your point though, Daniel Dubois, yeah, you're right. When he can't work off the jab, he doesn't have nothing else. So and plus his defense is very leaky. And he's pretty slow on his feet. I'm not saying he's a slowest heavyweight, but he doesn't have the fastest footwork either. So, and he's somewhat of a crude fighter to some extent. He's got some decent ability, but other than that, yeah, his defense, foot speed is an issue for Daniel. And because if you couldn't get past Joe Joyce's jab all night, that's a concern right there. We'll see how his eye holds up in this fight.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an interesting point on that one. But yeah, there's one thing I did not know that you told me. There's still some outstanding issues when it comes to this fight because the date is set for June 18th, I believe, in Miami. But Don King is still pissed off about the first split between Dubois and Bryan. I mean, if that's the case, then is there still will this fight come off by that matter? Because we know Don King didn't, the way he's handled the manual charge situation. I saw how that went down. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Listen, I'm telling you, right? The fight's going. The fight's definitely going. He's disputing about the percentages, how much money he should be getting. But apart from the percentages, this is a very good learning fight for Daniel Dubois. But this is the thing, is very, very awkward fight because when he fought that Joe Joyce, like I told everyone, I said he ain't beating Joe Joyce. They go, why? I said, yeah, they said Joe Joyce is old. That was the narrative. I said, yeah, but let's say he ain't old. So let's take away his age, right? So what's he coming with? He's coming with all that experience to go and see. The people don't understand about the amateurs, right? Now the amateurs is a small microcosm of the pros. So let's say in 3 rounds, you can get a whole fight in 3 rounds, like in 3 rounds, because you have nuances in that round, like in-ring adjustments back and forth. It does in the 3 rounds, right?
Yeah.
In a 12-round fight, now the same thing you can get in a 3 round is paced out in a longer round, so it'll be longer, and then it will start to manifest itself round 6, round 7, as you saw in the Katie Taylor fight and Manny Serrano. So in that situation, Joe Joyce has experienced much more decent level of competition ever than Daniel Dubois ever had in his career. And in them nuances, I knew we'd be able to do with him. First off, Joe Joyce, when he realized he can land the jab over his jab, then he just kept doing it. He didn't need to change anything more than that. Now it was up to Daniel Dubois' corner to change, in which he didn't move his head. So you ain't gonna move your head, dummy. I'm gonna keep jabbing your head, dummy. Now, and that's more or less how the fight played out. You didn't move your head, and then I jab you in your head. And he kept walking forward because he didn't know anything different, right? Now, and I've seen him spar Derek Chisora as well, right? And Derek Chisora is like, when he's in there, he's more or less, Daniel Dubois is an imposing. They tell him you're a big lump. You're very imposing. People intimidate you. So that's why he pushed Joe Joyce at the press conference, because Joe Joyce was standing over the top of him, and he's never been intimidated. You know what I mean? So his
Yeah.
first thing was, well, I don't like the way he's too close, but I need to push him. You know what I mean? So that's what he did, right? And
Well,
now,
you know what? Here's the thing about Daniel. He's one of those fighters who falls in love with his power too. So once he realized that Joe Joyce
yeah,
wasn't going anywhere, he hit Joe
uh,
Joyce with his best big power shots. I think it was
yeah,
that fifth or sixth round when he went for it. He was just
yeah,
teeing off on Joyce, and Joyce wasn't going anywhere. He just stood there.
yeah,
Joyce ate those punches that kept coming at him,
yeah,
and that
yeah,
right there psychologically freaked out. I mean, well, we're freaked out, but psychologically that worried Dubois, because Dubois was like, "Well, damn, I gave this guy everything I had in that round, and he's still there. He ain't
yeah.
going nowhere." And he
He ain't
forced
got
him on the
no-
back foot, which Daniel's not used to, because he's not used to fighting off the back foot. And I think that right there was a telling point how he lost the fight. You know,
I agree.
yeah,
I
aside from
agree.
the eye injury, but psychologically, mentally, he felt like, fuck it, man, I can't do this. This guy's
Nah,
not going anywhere. You
nah,
know?
and mentally, yeah, and that's why he's called a juggernaut. He broke his spirit. Now, this guy Jefferson, my man Jefferson, Daniel Boy is gonna beat Trevor Bryan post to pillar to post. He might try. He'll try to. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that, Jefferson. You know what I mean? I think he'll try to, but whether he can do it is another thing. This is what I'm trying to say. Look, because Stavern, he's very imposing. He's got
Yeah.
decent hand speed, and you see how he turned up. Oh, we're gonna say he was shocked because Wilder finished. All right, cool. No one's gonna give Trevor Bryan credit because he's fat. Okay, let's take it this way. Let's say he comes in. Let's say he's fat, right? But Ruiz is fat.
Look what he did to AJ.
Yeah, this heavyweight division, bruh. Muscles, though, muscles. It's all about what's between the eyes. And look at Don King in the middle right here, smiling, thinking, boy, we're going to clear up on this dummy, because he's the same guy who sent Tim Witherspoon over to fight Frank Bruno. He said, listen, you ain't going to make no money over here. You're a champion. Go to England. Go over there for it. Listen, there's a dummy over there. Go over there, beat that dummy over there, and bring yourself back. That's what he did. But he came over, and he liked it so much. Tim Witherspoon still over it. I mean, I think he's in America now, but he liked it so much in the UK fighting against Frank Bruno, and realized, oh, some people over here are supporting me to beat Bruno. I'm gonna stay here. Daniel Dubois but he got no charisma. I don't know if Trevor Bryan's got any charisma, but all I know is this, right? This is the turning point for him in his career. Frank Warren is putting the kid out too early. And really and truly, on the rankings, why have you deserved a shot? Look at Daniel Dubois' record and tell me, let's go through, if I go through his box rate, Dan, I know you probably got it there. He hasn't fought absolutely no one apart from Nathan Gorman, which I thought was a good fight with Bruno helping him, and Lennox Lewis, because he's going to need Lennox Lewis in this one to beat someone like Trevor Bryan, because Trevor Bryan is not going to, when you jab, he's not going to be there. He's going to be coming underneath with hooks and stuff, and Daniel's going to be getting hit. And after round after round being hit, the same situation is going to happen. His eyes are going to swell up, and to be honest with you, he won't quit. He won't want to quit, but the corner is so inequipped to do with in-ring adjustments, but I can't see him beating him. I can't see him beat Trevor Bryan, but everyone, all these dummies look at his build and say, yo, he can beat him. My man Jefferson saying, Trevor Bryan isn't nowhere near Trevor Witherspoon. He's slick like Trevor Witherspoon. He's what you call them fighters who can slip and slide. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, Bryan's a C class. Yeah. To be nice, C class. How do you know that? Well, he beats Bermain Stavern, the former WBC champion, bro. That's better than Nathan Gorman, ain't it?
Yeah. Well, I have to give you that. But wasn't Stavern the slight favorite going into that fight, or was it Bryan? I think Bryan was a slight favorite.
That was the verb was, man. The verb was. Yeah, he was saying. He beat him. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, you got to look on their resume, and there's nothing in Daniel Roy's resume other than Frank saying he's a big lump and he hits hard. Listen, that don't call it. That Don King, like, I look at Don King. You invest their money in this guy. Don King doesn't waste his money on no guy, no doofus. You know what I mean? He doesn't do it. Trinidad, Julio Cesar Chavez, some of these guys, I'm not saying he's on that level, but as a heavyweight, he's more than meets the eye. And I think when you bring Larry home, I think what you're looking with Bryan, they're trying to make him more professional. And another thing as well, I think they told him to be fat. And go, why be fat? Because people gonna get fights with you, dummy. Because if you look terrible, then it's easier. People go, yeah, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna whip him. And that's what's happening.
What's funny, I realize though, I'm not saying being overweight is always a benefit, but I do realize sometimes if you're slightly overweight, that gives your body more room to flow oxygen than if you have all those bulging muscles. Because if you have bulging muscles, that tightens up the oxygen flow, opposed to having a loose, not so shaped, Adonis physique. That's what Tyson
Yeah.
Fury learned against Deontay Wilder, and that's what Andy Ruiz probably learned against Anthony Joshua in their first fight. Now, to be fair, Anthony Joshua lost. I mean, not Anthony Joshua. Andy Ruiz lost the second fight because he put on way too much weight, whereas that he couldn't move. That's a major difference, you
Mhm,
know.
mhm.
But he still had this cardio to keep up with him, but he just didn't have the footwork to catch Joshua. But I'm just saying, though, I just wanted to point that out there. That's a very unique observation. That hey, sometimes being a pludder, being a fat boy, has its benefits of being a bodybuilding Adonis. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this thing, we remember again, this the heavyweight division. You could be out, but see, the thing is, in the heavyweight division, you could be out boxing someone, and you get clipped with a shot, and you out there, bro. You
That's
out there.
true.
So it's not like any other division you've ever been. Your guy can clearly be out boxing a guy easily. Like, yo, this is easy. And Francois Burr against Mike Tyson. What's his name? Joe Lewis versus Billy Conn.
Back
Like, there's loads of
Billy
guys in
Conn,
history.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
loads of
yeah,
guys. Loads of guys in the history of the heavyweight division, because you're pepping someone up, yeah. All they gotta do is make sure they can land their shot, and good night, Irene. That's what it is, right? So
yeah.
when you
Rocky
look at Trevor,
Marciano when he
yeah,
fought
Rocky,
for Charles. Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
When Ezra Charles, when he fought Jersey Joe Walker, he was winning, they were losing the fight, getting knocked down, and all of a sudden he just got the Suzuki bang and knocks him. So we're looking at the division unlike the others, and I do feel, yeah, being in America, being around some of them crafty veterans and this and that, it'll pay difference. You know, I told Daniel Boy, look at this, I'm gonna beat this big fat lump. Yeah, okay, we'll see if you can land a shot first, and then we see. Now, when you get in there, you can't land your shot, and this guy's sneaking, hitting you. Eventually, what pressure bursts pipes, and that's what I feel will happen. All your money, all going down right now. The UK if the UK look at him and say, "Yo, we're gonna put our money down on Daniel Dubois," and everyone will be, and I'll be like, "Yeah, go ahead, you do that. I'll call you right now. I like Daniel Dubois. He's a nice kid, but I just feel he could be better, have better trainers and coaches behind him. And if I see different, I might change my name, change my opinion nearer to the fight. But right now, I've got a landslide here for the champion Kevin Bryan, and he needs someone like Daniel Dubois to make a statement to put him. Now, if you're talking about him against Filihovic, and you're talking about Tony Yoko, and you're talking about some of them up and coming young guys, yeah, that's a different proposition. But at the same time, I'll give him a chance though, because again, it's the same thing. He fat, I could beat him. He fat, he ain't doing nothing. I can beat him. So we'd have to say, hey Dan, are you else you want to say in that before we talk about Canelo Alvarez versus Demetrius Bivol?
No. I think we covered all the bases on that, but it's just quite interesting to see that there's still a purse split issue. I mean, I'm not sure
Yeah.
if Don. I'll be positive. I think the fight will come off.
Well,
I know
Frank's
that they.
cashing him out. Well, Frank's cashing Daniel Dubois out. That's what it's about. And Don's like, yo, hold on a minute. Why are you getting so much money? Because Frank's thinking I can get a lot of money for him. If he loses, I don't care. But if he wins, all right, great. And we can just build again. But really, with Daniel on his resume and Frank trying to push him, he doesn't really care about building guys. He's just throwing him underneath the bus, really. I mean, I don't think he really wants to build another maybe I'm not going to be racial or something, another black heavyweight champion to do anything. I don't really think so. You know what I mean? I think
I
he's
don't know
looking.
about that.
Right.
He
Go ahead.
wanted the wall to beat Joyce. He pretty much set up everything for him to win that fight because before the stoppage, the ball was up on the cards.
Yeah, but
Before
how?
the
Yeah,
stop,
but why would you? Yeah, but the thing is, anyone in their right mind wouldn't put bloody Daniel Dubois in there, Joe Joyce. You see what I'm saying? If you really think about it, your bloody right mind, there's no way he's got too much. He's got too much thing, and really with the you know the trainers who train him, they know about keep fitness. I
yeah,
mean, Daniel Dubois, you know, he didn't have no sparring partners going in, no top tier sparring partners coming into the fight. The trainers are not really on the world scene. How the heck you beating Joe Joyce, who rolls with David Hay, who has Israel Salis, who's what the nickname is the traveling coach trainer around
yeah,
the world, and you're coming in to beat him. And I know it was the COVID situation, but there's no way he was gonna beat him, bro. Like, see, the thing is, he did well against Nathan Gorman because
right.
Nathan Gorman, he couldn't get past the jab. He couldn't, and Daniel kept him good, kept him out there. But Daniel Bryan, no, Trevor Bryan, no, man. He's just gonna be in range, slipping your jab, coming hitting you, you know, body shots and stuff like that. It's just like, is he gonna be in shape? Can he maintain it? Yeah, he's Trevor
Right.
Bryan. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
wait, go on.
No, I was gonna say that's an excellent point, but yeah, I mean, let's just hope the fight does come off, and I hope hopefully there's no other trickery. You know what I'm saying? Or fucker, when Don King's promoting an event, there's gonna be
Come on. I think Don King's abnormal, to tell you the truth. I think he's more abnormal than
Frank Warren.
yeah, I think so. I think because Frank Warren's still up to his no good. You know, he's
Yes.
still angry. I see his face with the Ngannou when Tyson Fury was talking about Ngannou. I see his face looking like the devil itself, yeah, because he realized he wasn't going to get none of that payday. You know what I mean? He weren't going to get
Well,
none of
he
the
can thank
payday.
Dana White for that because Dana White shut that fight down. He's like, nah, no fucking way that's going to happen. Please.
Yeah. But we're talking about that. Frank, it is, both of their contracts are finished. He's free as a bird. He can do what he wants, and he can go where he wants and promote what he wants to do. And now he wants to fight MMA fight with Ngannou. I don't see why he should go in that fight. I mean, that's a dangerous fight. But if it's a boxing fight, Fury's laughing away to the bank, man.
Yeah.
But does anyone even think that fight's even going to be competitive in a boxing ring? I mean, come
Nah,
on.
no. But if it's in the octagon, then yeah, Tyson Fury's got no chance. I'm sorry, he's got no chance.
Nah,
Yeah, you could fight him standing up, but when it comes to that ground game, Agano's gonna beat the crap out of you. I'm sorry, bro, you got no chance in that
I agree.
situation. We saw what James Toney tried to do with Randy Couture. We saw what
Yeah.
happened to him, but
Yeah.
I forgot that moment. But yeah, I guess we could talk about Canelo versus Bivol now. I
Go
guess
ahead.
that's
Yeah, go
um.
ahead.
You know what? A lot of people are dismissing Dimitri Bivol as a credible opponent. I think that's a terrible mistake because I've watched Bivol and I meant watched many of his fights, and I've actually watched I watched the replay of the Joe Smith fight. Dude, he clearly, if you look at the fight, he almost shut out Joe Smith. He completely shut him out. Now, to be fair, they say, well, you can't compare Joe Smith to Canelo Alvarez. That's totally different fight, different fighters when it comes to skill gap. I get that, but Dimitri Bivol is a accomplished amateur. He's been in there with all the great fighters that we've seen right now in the professional ranks as an amateur. He's got over 300 amateur fights. I believe he was part of WSB. He was an Olympian. I mean, the guy has been around for a long time. Yes, he's not producing knockouts, but look at the boxing ability that he has. He can fight in angles. He's very tricky. He's very awkward, and he's got very good defense. And he got a very good educated jab. He works off the jab very well. He's very underrated for his hooks, though, because he can shoot off counter hooks very well. He can disguise those hooks coming up from the front foot. So I think that's going to be a very awkward fight for Canelo. I think for the first half of the fight, Canelo's going to have a tough time with him. Then maybe he's going to make some adjustments and figure him out. But I think this is going to be a fight that I don't think Canelo's going to win easily. I'm being honest. I just don't see how he's going to win this fight easily. I'll be shocked if he does beat him easily. But as many people believe that's going to happen. But nah, I don't see how that fight's going to play out. I think this fight's going to end. It's going to end in a decision. I'm not saying it's going to be a controversial decision, but I think it's going to be a close fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
You reckon it's going to the cards? So you got the cards for Canelo, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to go to the cards for Canelo. I don't see a knockout, but I could be wrong, but we'll see.
I think Bivol's going to win the fight, but not get the decision probably because you see, the thing is Canelo, yeah, he hits because everyone's on his power, so let's take his power out of it. Bivol, I mean, it seems like they're making weight. Bivol looks like a quite durable guy. But I think he's got a very good high work rate. His work rate is pretty good. He didn't look good against Craig Richards, who's very tall, and that was awkward for him. And that wasn't a very exciting fight. You're not as good as your opponent, but I think Bivol, good counter puncher, a good like work rate. He don't really try and look the volume, but Canelo's trying to slip and slide. I think Canelo's going to catch the eye punches because it's going to be one there where he looks like he's hitting with more intent and more power, and I think people might lean towards that. But I can see
that's how Canelo wins his fights. That's how he wins his fights because he's not going to outpunch you. I mean, he's a guy he's not a high value puncher. He doesn't have that ability to do that. So what he does is that he's going to let you release a lot of shots, and you're going to miss quite a lot of them because Canelo's a difficult guy to hit. Ask Sergey Kovalev, because Kovalev threw like what 300, 400 more punches than Canelo before he got stopped.
And he was drained, man. He was weight drained, man. That wasn't like heavyweight. That was weight drained. Let's
take that out. If you want to talk about weight drain, fine. But the fact is that Kovalev threw way more punches than Canelo, but Canelo landed more because Kovalev was missing a lot of those shots. So Canelo's a guy who's going to say he'd be happy to allow you to throw a lot more punches, but all he needs to do is look for an opening, which he always does by slipping all those punches. And then once he finds that opening and lands a 3 or 4 punch combination, it then resets. That's all he needs. And that right there is like stealing the rounds. That's what he does. It's kind of like what Sugar Ray Leonard did it back in the day, So
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. He near the end, yeah, and that's how the fight's probably going to play out. But for Bivol, I mean, that's how the fight's going to play out. But what I'd like the fight to play out is Bivol took chances and try and go for the stoppage on him, put it on him, put pressure on Canelo, and do what Mayweather and force Canelo to use his reserves, so his stamina, so he's there helpless on the ropes, like when Mayweather beating him up, and make him hit ghosts. If Bivol can have a game plan similar to what Mayweather's, just keep, because I think he, let me go to the stats, because there's no point in us talking. We need to go to the stats, people, so we can see the reach and all these things there, because it does make a factor into the fight. Because Mayweather's arms was significant, yeah, against Canelo Alvarez, and he used his reach. He just kept jabbing him in his face, man. Canelo couldn't get, and his jab was fast and accurate. And Bivol could use something similar to that in that fight. Let's get the measurements out here. The measurements. Canelo Alvarez is 5'8". He has a reach of 70 and a half. Yeah, 70 and a half. Was it 179 centimeters? And let's see, look at Demetrius Bivol. So it's 5'8". He ain't 5'8". I stand next to him. He's about 5'7". They're lying.
Yeah.
Demetrius Bivol 6 foot. You right?
He ain't 6 foot. Nah, he ain't tall. You know what's funny about this? I know these fighters be exaggerating their height. Like Tyson Fury, for example. Tyson Fury's not 6'9". He's fucking 6'7", man, at best.
That's what they said. But man, they pumped him up. But say Demetrius Bivol 6 foot, right? But he's taller than Canelo. 72. So 72 inches to Canelo's 70. So he's got 2 inches. So you got to use that, man. You got to use what you have in front of him, the height, slight reach advantage, and be faster and be more busy than him, Canelo, he's 31 years of age. Demetrius Bivol, how old is he? So he's in his prime, man. They're both the same age.
Yeah.
Wow, they're both the same age, yeah. But he's done more in his amateurs, man. He's done more. And the thing is, in the amateurs, like you said, he's putting out. I mean, I pressed the amateurs. You saw he had 500? Because I got here 90 something. I got 90. No,
he should have over 300, 200 or 200 to close to 300 amateur fights. That's what that was reported.
That's what reported, yeah. On box track, it says 90. It says 90 amateur fights, boy.
Most of those fights they don't even take it to account. So
maybe, yeah. But that's a lot though. That's still a lot. And he's been fighting against loads of guys. There's loads of guys on there. I was going through his list, and he's actually fought some decent level opponents. So this is the fight of his career, of his life. How's he gonna go out? I think he needs to go out and grab it. I don't think you should go out and steal it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go in there, go and take it. I think you get credit. If he goes in there and stops Canelo Alvarez, he becomes a star overnight. And then he could potentially get that fight with Demetrius, with Arthur Beterbiev in a mega fight. That's what you got to do.
Well, Beterbiev's got Joe Smith coming up, so he's got to get past that guy first.
Oh, I like that fight. That's a great fight. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's definitely gonna be a slugfest. Somebody's gonna get knocked out in that fight. So I'm just telling you that right now.
Yeah. Well, Joe Smith is all right. He's got good work. He's a blue collar, comes to fight you kind of work guy. And after Beterbiev, he's got chinny. He's become quite chinny later on in his career. So I expect him to maybe hit the floor a bit, but to come up. But he's definitely got decent power. That fight there is going to be great as well. But I tell you what, Demetrius Bivol, for us and boxing, like if he goes in there and stop Canelo Alvarez, how big would it be? Stopping Canelo Alvarez.
Well, that definitely is going to turn the boxing world upside down right there. And
pound for pound,
he'll definitely be up on the pound for pound list. I'm not sure if he's going to go number one, but he'll definitely be there. And all the reputable rankings such as ESPN, TBRB, and of course Ring Magazine. But what the people that will be disappointed if Bivol somehow pulls this off is the Golovkin fans, because they desperate just to get that third fight. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But if Canelo doesn't come through, that fight will definitely be off. And what's Golovkin gonna do? He's definitely not gonna fight Bivol. I don't see how he wins that fight. No fucking way. Golovkin, that is. Especially going up for 160, 175, where he'd be much slower. He'd be more vulnerable.
Bivol Golovkin would be that would be cool. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing. I think Golovkin could probably. I think Golovkin's style with Bivol would translate into a real epic. I mean, they could have some real good fights. Now
you'll definitely have a Russia versus Kazakhstan element there, and the fact is that Golovkin going up to 175 and fighting Bivol, man, Golovkin is slow, man, and he's vulnerable at the higher weights. Because I'm just put it this way. The only time I've seen him fight above 160 was 164 when he fought Steve Rose. And he was getting tagged, and he looked a little more vulnerable in that fight than he did at middleweight. So I'm like, what the fuck? Even though he got Rose out of there, but he looked a lot more slow than I've ever seen him. And him putting all that extra weight, and in fact, even though he's a slow guy that he is, yes, he's got some very good technical ability coming on the front foot as an offensive pressure, a pressure fighter. But other than that, dude, he's fighting a guy who's been at the weight for a long time. He's not a big lightweight heavyweight himself, Dimitri Bivol. Let's not get twisted. But he's been at that weight for a long time. He's fought bigger guys there. He's more accurate. He's more in his prime, and he's way faster than Gennady Golovkin. Way faster. And he's gonna pick him apart like he did Joe Smith. I'm just sorry to say that he will.
Yeah.
He will.
But again, it comes down to the same thing again, bro. Because Triple G's power translate, and can Canelo translate? Because Canelo, the work rate is definitely not going to be the same. All Canelo's trying to do is counter Bivol. Bivol is perfect for him because Bivol's going to be coming forward and trying to box, and it gives Canelo chances to slip and slide to land these counters and hard counters at that to blast Bivol. And if Bivol was to get through, the same thing scenario with Triple G, looking for power. But the Charlo brothers, I mean, I don't know if the Charlo brothers, I mean, everyone's talking about I think it's Canelo got offered by the Charlo brothers and Errol Spence Jr. for a fight. I think Errol Spence Jr. fight, but the thing is, he hasn't been down in them weights for the longest. He won't come down to middleweight to fight for like Errol Spence Jr.
He wasn't going to do that, but they offered him a catchweight super middleweight fight at 164 for that fight. And let me just say this though, I like Errol Spence, but let's keep it real and keep it buff for what it is. Errol Spence, if he goes up to 164, he's a dead man, not literally, but he ain't beating Canelo at 164. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry, because Errol Spence's style is tailor made for a guy like for Canelo Alvarez. If you sit there and try to trade with him for body shot to body shot, Canelo's going to prevail. You give him a chance to, pretty much give him his, not saying the only chance, but like his, what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty much his best chance of winning that fight is fighting him and trade with him up close. That you can't do that with, if you're Errol Spence, you got to keep that fight at long range the best way you can. And being at 164, you're putting on a lot more weight. You're going to be a lot more slow, and your power may not be able to generate going up in that higher weight. Especially if you haven't been acclimated above 160. Never in your career. I know some people are going to say, well, Spence walked around about 180 or close to 190. So that's his natural, that's his walk around weight. But yeah, I get that. But the difference is that there's one thing you're missing out of that. Spence blows up in weight. That's not natural muscle, or that's not muscle right there. That's all. That's like a mixture of fat. That's like body fat, with a little bit of muscle. That's all it is. In other words, Spence is like out of shape when he blows up, in between fights. So that's not, that doesn't make any sense. So the fact is that, him going at the 164 and fighting Canelo, man. Spence is not winning that fight. I'm sorry. He's not winning it. And let's be real. He's not. If it was at 160, maybe he would have a bit of a chance. But no way Canelo's going back down to 160. I don't think he can make that weight anymore. Because
man. That's happening. And Charlie needs to worry about fighting that Argentinian guy anyway. That's what he needs to worry about anyway. One of the Charlos the other Charlo at 154.
You mean Jamel? You talking about Castano? Yeah, man.
That's
mind you, Castano beat Errol Spence in the amateurs. I think twice.
Yeah.
I think he beat him twice. I know they fought once, but I'm not sure.
Why though? I can see why that he does his work rate, man. His work rate is really good, man.
Not only his work rate, you can't. It's hard to keep that guy off of you because he's so small. He crunches down, so it's hard to hit him. It's difficult to hit the guy.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people it's more dangerous to fighting a fighter smaller than you height wise than it is to fight a guy who's at your height or a little bit taller. Because
but the thing is, when they're fighting, no, they're not. Well, when a short guy comes at you, you don't fight him in the pocket. You just tie him up, man.
Exactly.
And let him chase you, and then just turn. Just keep hitting him and turning. That's what you got to do with them. And eventually, the legs get tired. The hands come down, and you can blast at the chin. I mean, boxing is scientific. That's what we call the sweet science. So with a short guy, if he's throwing punches at you in the pocket, you start going. He gonna get you first?
Well, you know what? That's a good point because I see that strategy was developed against Mike Tyson in his earlier days, and we saw how that fared out with his opponents. They've tried that. I think some of them have a bit of success, but they couldn't keep Mike off him because Mike at the time had an unbelievable work rate. He had a great engine. He had a great chin. So it's like, well, the guy, I'm doing everything that you want me to do to fight a guy like that at his height. his stature, you tie him up and then punch him when he try to come in with the counter. But he keeps coming at me and he keeps
He's too
dodging these
quick.
shots.
Yeah,
He's
he's
strong
very
as hell.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was struggling. But Mike, when you look at Mike's dimensions, really, the only thing of him is the short. But his dimensions of someone who's tall. Look at the side of his hands, man. His hands are massive.
Yeah, he got huge hands for a guy with his height.
Yeah, for his height. Yeah, exactly. Hands. So he had big. His feet are big. So anything about him, like his feet is someone.
Yeah, squads were huge.
Yeah,
Quads were huge.
Yeah. He's short. He's a short, squat, muscular, fast, like guy, and he used to out jab. You know, this is a teacher that happens out jab people were taller because his jab was faster. So when you go to jab him, your jab is longer. He used to get in his jab before you, and that took away from what you was gonna do. And then when you try to hook, then he weaved underneath, came over the side with hooks to the body, hooks to the head, and he was hitting you from angles that you couldn't defend. And the next you know, the punches really hurt. And you on your back, and I mean that was Mike, right? That's what people used to love, that Mike going in there. But Mike was the giant killer. But going back to this fight here, Demetrius Bivol's personality is very passive. He hasn't got the energy, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you need someone like Emmanuel Stewart or someone in the corner to slap you. Yo, wake up! This is for the championship of the world, yo. Do you see this guy over here? Pound for pound, you beat this guy, you become a legend. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of talking that you wake up. Like Bill was like, I fight, I go back down, I sit. There's, everything's relaxed. But you see, look in Canelo's corner. See, even though they're speaking Spanish, the passion is all there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Familia.
Here's the thing about this. Yeah, here's the thing about that.
It,
yeah, they are on it. And here's the thing about that, because Canelo, man, despite all the wealth and the fame that he has, he's constantly in the gym every fucking day training, almost every other day. And what the word is that he be getting on guys who he feels they're not doing the right things, like Andy Ruiz and Ryan Garcia. He tells them straight up, like, look, man, you're fucking up. You're lazy. He told Andy Ruiz several times that you're a fucking lazy fighter. You got great ability, but you're fucking lazy. That's what he told. He straight up told Andy Ruiz that, and he told the same thing to Ryan Garcia. And of course, Ryan Garcia didn't take it very well. That's why he left the gym, because he didn't like that type of criticism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't like it.
But he's an Instagram boxer, and Andy Ruiz is a fat donut. Is a fat guy who don't potential. The moment he got that money, that's why he talked. He was supposed to get a fight with Derek Chisora, and he priced himself out. Like he said, no, I've earned this amount of million. If you want to fight me, you have to pay at least $3 million. And they're like, what? For you fat lard? Get out of here, bro. So that's why he ain't got no fight. So so that's why. And remember, because he earned them a certain money, they put him on pay-per-view against what's his name again? Ariola beat his ass, man. They should have a rematch, but that shouldn't be on pay-per-view though. But that's why that fight was on pay-per-view, and I think that was a flop. You know what I mean? Because
of course it was.
He really is still the same guy. He's ate the money out. You know what I mean? He's too busy. He's not. I mean, he's talented, and you can see, but he's not dedicated enough. And that goes down to what people look at boxing and look at Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua. They look dedicated. They look like they take the craft seriously, but they're bodybuilders. They like looking at their bodies too much. So
I can look good. Yeah, they care about it's like Joshua. Sometimes he comes off a guy who, he takes his craft seriously, but sometimes he comes off a guy to me that seems like he's more worried about how he looks as far as physique wise.
Yeah,
that's what. Go ahead.
Now him and Eddie, that's what they care about, how they look. That's right.
Yeah, but speaking of it, going back to Andy Ruiz, he's fighting Luis Ortiz coming up, and he's supposed to excuse me. He was trying to get out of that fight because he signed on to a deal with the Zone to fight Tyrone Spong, and then the PBC lawyers hit him with the warning and said, hey, look, you can't go and fight Spong because you contracted to fight Ortiz. Remember?
Oh.
Yeah.
Hold up. Let's go back. Andy Ruiz is with the Zone?
No. He was going to go to the Zone. No. He was going to Trilla. He was going to fight Tyrone Spong. And the PBC lawyers came at him and said, well, wait, hold on. You ain't fighting Spong. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Well, why not? Well, because you're contracted to fight Ortiz, remember? Why are you trying to get out of that fight? You're obligated to take that fight. You signed on to that, remember? Yeah. So it's like this dude is just like has a habitual habit of trying to get out of fights. You remember he was trying to get out of that Joshua rematch. As soon as he beat him, he was trying to.
I can see that though, because if you get out of that ring, you can make mega fights with Wilder.
Yeah,
undisputed. You know what I'm saying? So there was money on that. I can understand that one. I can't hate him on that one, but this one, Yeah, well, against Ortiz, man, he should be all right, man. He should be all right, man. You know what I mean? I mean, because look, if you look at the two of them, yeah, I think they both lost a couple. You know what I mean? Ortiz, I still think Ortiz at some point was one of the baddest guys out there, man. And is he still that guy? I don't know, but Ruiz and him, they make for a good fight because they're very good. They like throw a lot of punches and they be in the pocket. I think it'll be a very good fight. I think if Andy Ruiz catches him properly, I think he's in trouble. Ortiz is in trouble. But if Ortiz catches him, I'd like to see how Andy Ruiz, because he's got a dodgy chin as well. Because he's been down and he's been down, bro. So
in all reality, we all know that they're trying to make Wilder versus Ruiz because they want Ruiz to win that fight. Obviously,
I think Ruiz would beat Wilder.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because he's got when I see Malik in the corner and he's just made him into a boxer, and in fact, I think Breland done a better job because with Breland, his style was more composure, take the middle of the ring and own the middle of the ring. With Thingy Wilder's his hands composure, he's fighting on emotion. You never go into a ring, amateur ring or professional ring on a personal level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you do that, you already lost already because you have emotional swings up and down. So Wilder went in with that kind of personal thing, and I've been robbed and my trainer poisoned me. Still not proven. Kelly Bailey was a drunk. He was drinking.
You know what, Deontay. Here's the thing about Deontay. Yeah, he's a guy who like to your point though. He fights on emotion. He doesn't think rationally. It all goes back to his upbringing because he wasn't the most smartest guy in the world. And not saying he's a dumb guy, but he wasn't very good as a scholar. He wasn't good academically, and you could tell by his secular language, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes if you look at his last interview he did with Byron Scott, I showed you that interview. His wife was getting agitated when he wouldn't answer questions straightforward, and she was like, let him know that, hey, he asked you a straightforward question, answer it. And he's like, I'm getting there. Let me explain. But anyways. But to your point though, he fights on emotion and he doesn't think he doesn't fight with with a lot of composure. But I was looking back at his fights with Ortiz, his first fight, whatnot, when he was lighter on his feet, he would move, he was agile, he was quick, he had all the athleticism. I'm looking at that version of Wilder, who's like 212, could be at like 220, 221. Maybe if he came in that weight, I'm not saying he would have won the fight, but I think he would have had far better in that weight when he fought Fury.
I think Wilder's problem is in between his brain. It doesn't matter his weight, because the thing is, he felt like he bulked up and he made it. Yeah, you're right, it made it worse. But that's what I'm saying. He done things to make himself feel good. And in boxing, it's not what makes you feel good; it's what's going to help you in the fight.
Exactly.
What's going to help you in the fight is Mark Breland in the corner trying to been telling you should have worked through his body because he had the straight rights to keep. I mean, he was doing it in the fight. Let's keep doing the damn thing, man. And that's true. Just keep doing. If it ain't, you don't care. You trying to win the fight because in the first round he was doing it. Nah, so you see, the funny thing is he doing Mark Breland's plan when Mark Breland was in the corner, when Mark Breland told him in the first fight. If he had the dedication and the discipline and the respect level to follow out Mark Breland's plans in the first fight, Fury would have found it harder. But I still think Fury would have found a way because Fury's leg movement, he still would have
cardio. He would have. But that's the thing, though.
Fury had answers for everything he did.
He did. Now I was gonna say he did, but to me, I think it would have been a lot more tougher if Wilder would had if he used his athleticism and his foot speed, his speed to get out of Fury's way. I think to your point though, this is what Malik Scott kind of alluded to because after that third Wilder fight, he even said it's one of the interviews he did. I think it was with Trill Boxing Talk or something, one of those guys. He said that, Deontay overthinks a lot of things, man. And that's why I told him, I sat down with him and I said, look, man, champ, you got to stop overthinking things. You got to do things that's going to get you to win the fight. Now you can't think by emotion, bro. You can't do that. But
his thing is, when you got that amount of money, that many people hanging on to you and they're all saying, yo, champ, you the best. See, when you lose now, Marcellus, even his brother thinks he should fight. The thing, you got all these idiots coming into boxing. You think anyone could box? And that's why his brother got turned out, man. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. You see, the thing is, boxing, you have people around you to think for you,
Yeah,
manager,
his brother should have
trainer.
just. Yeah, his brother should
Yeah,
have been in the amateurs, man. I don't know why he decided think he could just go straight go into pros like that.
that limelight, man. He wanted that limelight. You got that limelight. Now they're trying to delete videos of your brother getting canned. And that's the same brother was starting trouble with Ruiz. Like, this is the thing. Certain people around you don't need to be around you, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm sitting there thinking. I'm like, dude, you don't fast track a guy like that with no amateur background. You gotta get him to do what you did, Deontay. You started in the amateurs. You were a national champion. You were a medalist in the Olympics. You beat some good guys in the amateurs. So why couldn't your brother do the same thing you did? I don't get it, you know? So anyhow, yeah, like I said though, man, I hope if he does come back, I hope he learns, from those losses that he had with Fury, maybe fights that he could have perhaps done better, could have won. But other than that, if he had done the things that he should have done as a fighter, like Canelo Alvarez, for example, all that money, all the wealth and the fame that he has, Canelo lives the life of a fighter, man. He never gets out of shape. He's always in the gym every other day, training, perfecting his craft. It's like, people are going to say, well, I'm not Canelo Alvarez. I'm living just fine. Anthony Joshua is probably the guy who takes it a little bit more seriously. Deontay Wilder, obviously. But he's another guy, too, that Dan Rafael pointed out, that he's a guy who's what was the term that Dan Rafael used? Huh?
Fat Dan.
Yeah. It's like a creature to his habit. There you go. A creature to his habit, which means that he doesn't want to do, he doesn't like changes. Like I've said many times, Joshua is just like Wilder, where they're in a position where they're making so much fucking money. They've gotten away with doing what they've always done to win fights, despite the technical flaws and deficiencies. They're in their mind, it's like, well, why do I have to change anything? I'm got to the position where I'm at right now, doing what I'm good at. I'm good at what I'm knowing. You know what I'm saying? I'm good at what I know. Let's put it that way. And Joshua is like, why do I need to change? And I don't need to change trainers. I mean, yeah, he made a subtle change with Angel Fernandez as his head trainer with Robert Kraken, but that's still not a change. It's the same style technically.
Yeah,
it's the same style technically, but just a little bit of fluidity because Angel Fernandez had sharpened his technique a little bit. But other than that, that's it. It's not really changing. Mm-hmm. He's still got Joshua still got the same people in his camp. I mean, it's like the same thing with Wilder. Wilder didn't make that many changes. He got rid of Breland, and that was it.
Yeah. Because because the thing about AJ and Dylan and Deontay Wilder, the problem with them, and I can't say it's a problem. It's who they are. They're very caring people, and they care about people around them, and always very, very trying to please other people, and sometimes pleasing other people is to their detriment. And this is the thing about boxing. When you come into a boxing gym, I don't know anyone comes into the boxing gym just to send you. Yeah, when you come in, the trainer come up to you. Yeah, like you pay your money, whatever, and trainer say, "So what do you want to do then, man? Because you know what I want to do. Yeah, what do you want to do? Why do you want to box? Yeah, oh man, I want to do this and all that. So they work out what you want to do, and the trainer 100% is behind you on your goals and what you want to do, right? So when you start to achieving all the success, it goes to your head, and now you think I can achieve it. Then realize is that you had someone around you guiding you, make you looking out for you. And what happened with Wilder is that some of the people around you, they've guided you the wrong way. And that's what Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua believes in Eddie Hearn politically, but on the business side, he's made Anthony Joshua a lot of money. But in the boxing ring, not so much. I mean, not so much in terms of some of the mistakes. He shouldn't have fought Ruiz short notice, and he definitely shouldn't have fought Usyk. He should have vacated the belt. And that's just very simple. That's I mean that some of them business decisions then cost you. See, he could avoid Usyk. He could have let Usyk fight Joe Joyce,
right?
Fight the winner at some point, right? Then you could have made that big fight with Fury because Fury would have took the fight. Now they say, "Oh, you ain't got all the belts." Well, listen, you can say, "Listen, I'll get the belts later. I just want to fight you." You know what I mean? I mean, you could, or you could have paid off because Usyk didn't want to take the step side money. You know what I'm saying? Let's give him the money, right? Let's go. Okay, don't say so. Take the belt, fight because Joe Joyce would have been chopping at the bits to fight Usyk because he won rematch and let him beat down Usyk a bit, wear him out, and then by the time you got Usyk, you would have finished them off. So very bad business moves in terms of your money. Now Joshua, in terms of his style and how he's fighting, I mean, boy, the way that Ruiz thing knocked his confidence back. And Ron McCracker's no longer with him, telling him, don't fight like that again. He ain't got that no more. He's got people saying, no, do this. So now Boxer goes, I want to learn. Andy Joshua has told his trainers what he wants. He wants to look smooth. He wants to be like Fury. He wants to box. And that's what I think.
Yeah, and he admitted that. He was like, look, I'm not going to – he kind of gave – he kind of gave the impression that I'm not going to go back to the fighter that I once was. When I came forward, I didn't give a damn. But when I started to get hit and realized that I can't take these punches, I'm going to be safety first. Fuck all that. He even said it himself when he did the interview with Coogan. He's like, dude, what's in the back of my mind is that I need to leave the ring with my health intact. I need to have my vision. I don't want to have any speech slurs. I don't want to have brain damage. So that's what he's worried about at this point. That's why he's like, fuck that. I'm fighting safety first. I don't give a damn what people think. I can't please everybody. This is my career.
I agree. My man in the chat, Jefferson's what is it? Big up to my man Jefferson. Make sure you thumbs up the video, you guys, and subscribe. Subscribe. Check out my man Dan the Man's channel as well. He's got his own channel. No spaces. Dan the Man Boxing. No spaces. Check his channel out. Okay. I can't say that. Skills pay the bills. I agree and disagree. But if what you just said rang true, yeah, Floyd would have lost to one of these dudes that was naturally bigger than him. Well, how many people they were taller? I don't know how much their weight was over him. I think Floyd always fought people at the same weight, but he's exceptionally fast in his defense. I mean, his defense and skills pay the bills. His defense was better than most of them. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like, if you can see a punch coming and you can avoid it and you can hit the guy in the face better than he can, then that's how you win the fight. I mean, that's really it. I mean, when you see him versus Canelo, that's what you saw him doing. Canelo couldn't hit him and Floyd beating him up. Pacquiao, same thing. Pacquiao throwing all these punches and stuff like that, but they weren't effective. And Floyd looked like he was going to dislocate the man's shoulder when he hit him with a straight right. And Kenny Bayless shouldn't have been that referee because Floyd hit Pacquiao with a body shot, and Pacquiao was looking around. If Floyd was going to go back in, I think he would have stopped him. He would have fight the century, but Floyd was beating him up. So skills pay the bills, and stylistically, styles do make fights. And then talk to Andy Joshua. I don't think he's confident where he is at the minute. You know what I mean? I mean, he's every time he went out there, he's supposed to win. But in these fights, not so much. These guys are favored. Usyk was, Andy Joshua was a favorite, but not a big favorite. And Ruiz, he was a huge favorite. But stylistically, that's a hard fight, man. That was a hard fight. If you box correctly, I mean, when he knocked him down, Andy just tried to jump on him. I mean, I think if he carried on boxing him and setting him up for a win, he would have won the fight clearly. Would he got any credit? Nah, not really. The guy's fat anyway. It would have been one of them ones, but because Ruiz knocked him down, it's like, oh man. I mean, that was a wild year that was for Joshua. Joshua was depressed and shit. That punch is from the moons. Joshua was cussing at Lennox Lewis sometime. That was a wild time back then, boy. That was a wild time. But is Daniel Dubois the heir apparent? I don't think so. But I could be way wrong, and Daniel Dubois could go in there and knock out Trevor Bryan and put himself in contendership for one of these big guys. Phil Hovage, by the way, on this card actually, Phil Hovage is fighting the Japanese Zhang Zi. That's a good fight. Right, hey
EJ, real quickly, Phil Hovage tried to drop out. He pulled out of that fight.
Yeah, of course he did. Pussy, why he drop out? Go on, tell me that.
Nah, well, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. What happened is his father passed away last month, and during that time, I believe Ronnie Shields was training him, and he was trying to find a way to cope with the loss of his father. He said, look, I can't go back to the States right now because I'm with my family, but if we need to make up some time, I need you to come over here to Croatia and train, and I think Shields couldn't commit to that, so that's why he pulled out.
That's bullshit. That's some bullshit.
Well, I mean, his father passed away. He had a hard time, coping with his death, grieving over that. So I can understand why he pulled out.
He could have pulled off a long time ago. Just don't let it drag out to the week commence. I mean, they didn't that Zhang Zi.
Well, that's true. His father, you see, he pulled out last week. And his father died in early April. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Zhang Zi was gonna beat him. That's why. Listen, that
I don't know about that.
Yeah. He would have beat him. Because look, again, this is the thing what the guys are trying to do, right? They're just trying to fight guys they can beat, and any competition, like Tuso Tyson Fury doing to fight Ustinov. Alexander Ustinov ducked him nicely because Tyson Fury ducked David Price. He want to fight. I know he beating Dylan White and this and that, but there's certain guy, and they try to say he's a great, but we tell the truth, man. He didn't want to fight Usmanov, right? Now, this guy's fighting Scott Alexander. Like, no one's ever heard of this Scott Alexander. Where is he? From America? Where is he from? He's a black guy. Yeah, he's from America. Of course, there is. 6'3". Ain't never heard of him. Where's he ranked in America?
Nowhere.
He's ranked. Where's he ranked? Because they got that's the thing about boxing. He ain't even ranked, bro. He ain't even ranked. So there's got some guy, Zhang Zi's going against him. I think Zhang Zi would have beat him. I think he would have beat Thingy. It would have been a card. But you see, they were making a big noise about Michael Hunter. What's going on now? You know what I'm saying? What's going on now, bro? Like a week commencing, you bailing out? Nah, I'm not feeling that, Dan. I'm not feeling that.
So you don't really believe his father?
No.
All right.
He was Zhang Zi was gonna cook him. It was gonna barbecue beat, and now that card becomes real rubbish, man. Montel Love.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. That was probably the fight I was looking, other than Canelo Bivol. I mean, that fight sells itself, but I was really looking forward to that heavyweight fight, man. Yeah, that was an IBF. That's an IBF final eliminator. Whoever won that fight will be the mandatory challenger to the IBF champion, which is Usyk at the moment.
Yeah. See?
So
they don't want it, man. They don't want it. That's all they want to do is keep beating guys. Promoters these days, they keep their guys winning, keep the paydays rolling, and that's all this is about. At this top end, they don't really think about spreading love out here and actually giving great fights. I don't care about great fights. All I care about is paying my bills every month. Man, you crazy, bro. Yes, they're taking out the pocket. Montel Love, I don't know, man. He fight. I don't know. Some of the guys in the car, it's like, yo, bro. I just
Montel Love actually has got. He's definitely got some potential, man. I mean, I do like him. You know, he does have some skills, but you know, he needs to step up on his competition a bit more. I know that Barancek win was a good solid step up win for him, but after that, he hasn't really fought anyone.
Nah.
I mean, I don't know, man. What is Eddie Hearn doing with him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Eddie Hearn, see, one card, this, and he didn't even want the Katie Taylor fight, bro. It's only because Thingy came along, put extra money in there. He took that fight. He didn't even want it, and now he's walking around saying, "Yeah, this, that, other thing." He should expose Eddie Hearn's ass, man. He didn't even want that fight. You know, he didn't even want to sign Joshua. I know about Eddie Hearn. I ain't getting credit for shit that you unfortunately, you accepted the fight only because my man put the money down in this shit. That's what it was. The shiznix. That's what it's about. Now, Bivol, is it going to be an exciting fight? That's what we want to know. Is it going to be an exciting fight? Dan, yes or no?
I think Canelo will make the fight, but I think it's going to have a lot of moments. I'm not going to say it's going to be fight of the year. That's part of it was stretch to say that. But Bivol is not that type of fighter who could produce those type of performances. But I mean, Canelo will definitely make the fight out of it. It'll definitely be I think it's going to be a good fight, but as far as being a great fight, I don't think so. No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nah. All right, then, Dan, we're going to sign out on that. Anything else you want to add, Dan?
No, man. Other than that, thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to tonight's fight and, some of the people on the undercard. So I'll be paying attention to that. So, yeah, man, may the best man win. So I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Dan. Yeah, we'll probably talk to you later on WhatsApp or whatever and watch the fight at the same time. All right, man. Take care, Dan.
You too. Peace, man.
Peace, man. So that was Dan the Man. Make sure you go check out Dan the Man's channel. Dan the Man, no spaces on his channel. Go check him out. I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. I'm EJ Boxing Live. Make sure you sub. Make sure you hit the like button, and so you can get and press the notification button so you can get all of when I'm coming live and stuff like that. Man, I appreciate everyone contributing, and you take care. Have a blessed afternoon or evening, and take care. Peace.